In this anime, our protagonist named Takumi Iruma invents a modern-age toilet in this medieval isekai world, and the church gets so mad at him for it that they try to literally steal his technology. Introducing the new version of the great cleric Takumi Iruma, who accidentally got summoned to Goddess Nalan's world. The ones responsible for summoning Takumi meant to summon more worthy candidates, but Takumi got caught in the crossfire of a bot-like spell called the Otherworld Catcher. Oops! Goddess Nalan personally apologizes on behalf of the summoners, explaining that she had banned the spell because it could collapse her world. However, a rogue empire called Sidonia went ahead and used it recklessly. Despite her best efforts, she only managed to save Takumi before the summoners could get their hands on him. Takumi's quick solution? Just send me back. But nope, no can do. She's locked down the Otherworlder's spell for good, and to make matters worse, Takumi's now without a physical body. Goddess Nalan offers him a fresh start in a new world, deciding to send him to a nation with no Otherworlders and gives him a blessing to make him ridiculously powerful. The goddess explains the world's job system and Takumi, not a fan of fighting, asks for a non-adventurer job. She obliges, gives him some handy skills, and sends him off to live his new life. Bro literally crash lands on the continent of Asgard and expresses how awful this entire experience was. He goes near the river to take a breather beside the fresh flowing water, and sees his new face for the first time, which is becoming the new generic Isekai protagonist face. He's wearing the typical clothes of an aristocrat and also has a bag with him that might turn out to be useful. Takumi opens the bag to find some food supplies, water, and some gold coins as well, with the basic things taken care of. Thanks to Goddess Nalan, Takumi decides to have a look at his status menu to see what type of skills he was given by Goddess Nalan before being sent here. The system menu is showing the blessing he received from Goddess Nalan at the end of the list, which concerns Takumi because if people in this world can see skills and blessings of others, it will draw unwanted attention to him if they were to know that Takumi has the goddess's blessing. So he decides to conceal the blessing from public view along with the item box, as that could also be considered a cheat item. With that done, Takumi then focuses on looking at his active skill where several level 1 magic skills are listed. Having never experienced magic before, he decides to try his newly acquired skills to see if he can really use them. Not wanting to use flame magic in this wild forest, he activates a water-type spell instead, which allows him to generate a ball of water. He then tests wind and rock magic and both seem pretty nifty in case of combat. After getting adjusted to his new body, Takumi begins looking for a village and comes across some really high-quality wood that he instantly turns into a spear using his blacksmith skill. Using his appraisal skill next, he collects all types of rich medicinal plants in case of emergencies and stores them all in the other dimensional item box. Out of nowhere, a young girl named Molly starts running out of the rushes, being chased by a huge, ferocious rabbit. She hides behind the young man, seeking his help, and he doesn't let her down. He uses his spear to literally one-shot the horned rabbit in the head. Hunting down this wild animal unlocks the warrior job for him, even though he doesn't want to be one. In any case, he makes sure that the kid is okay and learns that she came here to the woods to collect some medicinal herbs from the nearby village. Because his goal was to find a village, he tags along with Molly and stores the rabbit in the item box right in front of her, forgetting the fact that he shouldn't show off his cheat skills to the people of this world. Meanwhile, at the Holy Sidonia Empire, 3 high schoolers find themselves in a large hall suddenly and are welcomed by a cloaked woman who greets them as the new heroes of the world. Before explaining everything to them, she introduces herself as the First Empress of this empire, Elizabeth, and takes off her cloak, revealing her creepy face. One of the heroes, Akane, unintentionally uses the blessing she received from Goddess Nalan, which leads her to realize that Elizabeth is the type of woman who shouldn't be trusted. At this time, Takumi and Molly had already gotten to board village. Bunga and Martha, Molly's father and mother, thank him for saving their daughter's life. And with that, he asks for permission to reside with them in the village for a short while. His request is granted almost immediately as they set out to build him an apartment. He is first shocked by the idea of building him a house, but he soon settles to help them out. Following this, he tries to use magic to level the floor, but he falls to the ground due to the intensity of the energy. The villagers are surprised that he can use magic, but are relieved and happy at the same time. They assured him that they would complete the building earnestly. Within a very short period, his house is ready and fully furnished. Having settled into the apartment, he decides to use his tiny brain to channel his inner blacksmith to create a new weapon. He makes use of the different types of iron ore he gathered, coupled with the magic iron ore, and hopes to use this to make some ingots. Even though this would normally require a large furnace, he uses his alchemy to melt the ores and mold them into an iron ingot. Since this was successful, his imagination runs wild with different options of things he could create using iron and copper. Later that day, Molly comes to invite him for dinner and finds him passed out from exhaustion in his apartment. He had used too much mana and ended up passing out. Fortunately, Molly found him just in time to get help. Just then, Martha scolded him while Bunga gave him some healing potion to heal himself fully. Ignoring them, he continued to perform his alchemy, but under the strict supervision of Martha and Molly. Using his alchemy skills, he was able to extract different metals and make different utensils for the villagers. With the help of the blacksmith, he was able to make a spear for his safety. Later that day, Takumi meets with Bunga to help him out with a few potions which he intends to replicate. He wonders why Takumi would use such potions because most of them are basic, but offers to give them to him when he states that he wishes to make potions using the medicinal herbs he has gathered. Hearing this, Bunga offers to buy some of the potions when he's done making them. While Takumi is pleased with this, he hopes Bunga won't have his hopes up. Later that day, Takumi spends his time making the potions by mixing some herbs and realizes that the color changes the more he mixes them. He claims this experiment brings back some memories of his childhood. When he finishes, he realizes that the same potions turn out in 2 different colors. He figures this could be because of the water magic he used and is determined to learn more recipes for potions. After that, he heads to the woods to get some more herbs and ends up biting an unknown leaf. It turns out to be poison. Just before his curiosity could lead him to his ancestors, he uses his magic to heal himself. Just as he survived the poison, he turns around to find a huge armored bear with blazing red eyes about to devour him. To defend himself, he picks up a spear he finds beside him and stands ready to defend himself from the boar. At first he breaks the sharp part of the spear and throws it at the monster, but it bounces off the thick skin of the boar. After that, he tries to stab the monster's forehead with the stick, but its stone-cold head shatters the stick to pieces. Just before the monster could deliver a career-ending suplex, he dodges the attack. He tries using his Winder Cutter and Rock Ball magic, but it has completely no effect on the monster. While the monster approaches him, he tries to think as fast as he can to figure out what to do next. At that moment, he hears a sound from the bush behind him and turns around to find an injured poison spider. At first, he assumes the spider is about to attack him, but soon figures that it is in pain. Just then, the monster charges at him aggressively and is about to hit him, when the spider jumps at it to make it lose focus as it charges into a tree. After that, it turned around to face him one last time. This time, Takumi has nowhere to run. While the monster gets set to finish him off, he racks his brain to find a solution, just as the boar is about to put an end to his sorry life. He leaps up in the air and uses his alchemy powers to slam a decompose magic on the head of the monster. This ends the monster once and for all. After that, he walks up to the injured spider and it seems to be in a worse condition after trying to save him. To return the favor, he uses his health magic to heal the spider's injuries. After doing this, he turns around to leave, but is notified that he has to tame the spider. The thought of this shocks him to his bones, since it's impossible to tame a poisoned spider. Regardless, he goes along with it and asks if it would like to come with him. When it surprisingly says yes, Takumi names it Maple. Naming the spider causes it to evolve into a bigger spider, and Takumi takes it back to the village with him. In the village, the villagers are shocked to see that Takumi single-handedly took down an armored boar. They are more surprised at the fact that he was able to tame a poison spider. Amidst this, they got to have a meat party that night and come to terms with the fact that Takumi's arrival has brought joy to them. They hand him the uneatable materials from the boar which he could sell in the city. Meanwhile, the goddess is pleased with how good Takumi is faring in this new world. That brings the episode to an end. Thanks for watching. Want next part? Subscribe the channel and turn on notification bell.